Hey there. If you are a self-improvement junkie like me, you consume a lot of content, either via books or YouTube videos, podcasts, you name it. And there is so much good information out there that it's very easy to get consumed by it. And don't let me wrong, this theory and content is very important for your personal development, and you need the right concepts and principles in order to change your life. But there is a thing as too much content, and the problem is that you keep your mind busy all the time. And the problem is that you don't let the information to be processed by your mind. And at some point your mind only can process so much information, so the rest will go to waste. And you will feel, on the other hand, that you are doing progress by consuming this content, absorbing those ideas. And until not so long ago, I was like that. I used to be listening to stuff all the time while I was walking, buying groceries, cooking, eating, gym, you name it. And at the moment I start recording those videos and the newsletter that you can check in the description below, I start changing some habits in my life, and I start becoming more mindful about the information I was consuming. I was consuming too much shit, really. So I stopped reading, not reading, but watching videos and stuff while I was eating and at the gym, for example. At least those moments, I try to become very mindful of what I was doing. And also, I started writing, and quite a lot. And that's the habit that's changed my life for the better, writing. And writing is so simple, but it's extremely powerful. And I want to convince you in this video that you should start writing today. And as I mentioned, it's a so simple activity to write. And we do it all day, either you are aware or not. I mean, either you are texting people, sending emails, or, I don't know, writing assignments for school, whatever. Writing posts on social media. I mean, you are doing it all the time. But what I want to discuss today is to use writing as a self-development tool, which can be incredibly powerful. And as I mentioned, I started writing a newsletter, a weekly newsletter, and basically that's the backbone of this thing. I mean, all what I'm talking is based on the things that I write, and that's been incredibly powerful to me. And let me explain you why it's so important to start writing more, especially if you are into self-development. Even if you're not, writing can be very useful. And for me, the main reason is that writing helped me to clarify my mind. Because if you consume a lot of information, your mind absorbs all this. And think of your mind as a big room, your room, for example, and if probably your mind is like quite messy, and it's like having your room all over the place with full of clothes and food, everything is quite messy. And writing, what it does is to organize everything. It's like when you decide, okay, let's clean, let's remove all the garbage, and also let's put things in the right place. And that's what writing is about. Writing helps you to put everything into the right place, and that's extremely powerful. I used to struggle a lot trying to explain things to people because I didn't have the right framework, because I wasn't writing enough. And once I start writing more, now the ideas are in the right place, so now it's very easy to access them. So that's the main benefit of writing. And here you may say, but we have ChatGPT now. Well, why do I need to write? And let me be clear here. The point is not about writing for becoming a professional writer or an author or something like that. Writing is about clarifying your mind, not to write for just writing poetry or novel. I mean, if you want to do that, that's great. But the point here I want to do is to use writing as a tool to organize your thoughts so that they are not messy all over the place. So, as I mentioned, the way we learn in life is by doing, and you don't learn math by just reading a book. You learn math by doing exercises. And if you are into self-improvement, personal development, however you want to call it, you learn by embodying the principles, and writing can be an extremely powerful way to do that. And let me give you some ways in which precise ways in which you can start developing your writing skills. But just let me mention briefly that the thing is that now we have so easy access to information. We have Google, we have now all these nice tools, ChatGPT, whatever, and we become lazy because we don't need to think anymore. If we have a question, we just go to our cell phones and type the answer, the question. and in a sense, this is good. I'm not saying this, I use it all the time, especially if you want some factual information. But it can become a trap, and because we become dependent of those tools, and we start to lose some skills. And I think there are critical skills we need to develop if you want to do anything meaningful in your life, like critical thinking, and also independent thinking, self-reliance, and even speaking skills. As I was mentioning, if you don't know how to convey your ideas to someone else, doesn't matter if your idea is the best in the world, nobody will care about this. So by writing, you will be able to express yourself better. So as I mentioned, you don't have to be a philosopher or a professional writer to start to write. You already know how to write. I hope that if you know how to read, you know how to write, right? And again, it's not about writing beautiful poetry or a novel. No. The idea is to use writing to improve yourself. And I will give you 3 ways in which you can start writing right now or today to improve yourself. And very simple ways. The first one is journaling. And you don't have to be a teenager to journal. And I think that's the easiest way, especially because you may say, I don't know what to write about. Well, write about yourself, about your life. And journaling can be an extremely useful tool for reflect about your life. Because there is always something that's not in the right place, right? So you can start writing, and again, you don't have to make it complicated. Just write for 5 minutes every day. How was your life? How was your day? If there was something interesting, something bad. And the idea is that you start to develop a sort of record of your life. And then you can, after a certain period of time, you can look at it and reflect about how your life has been going. I think that we want to distract ourselves all the time, and we should reflect more about what we do instead of trying to do all the time stuff. And journaling can help you immensely there. Because after all, wisdom is about learning from our previous mistakes so that we don't repeat them in the future. And by having the problem is that our memories are quite fragile. So yeah, something that happened 1 week, 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago, you may forget it, or your mind may distort the information. Your mind is quite tricky. So by writing, you have a record of this, and then you can ponder about this, about the situations that happen in your life. Very simple. The second way, which may sound a little bit old-fashioned, is to have deep conversations by letters. And again, for me especially, texting is not very nice, especially for deep conversations. I mean, texting is useful for very short exchange of information, but for anything more than that, it's not very useful, because useful you answer or you write when you are like doing something else, so your mind is not there and you just want to send a message quickly and then move on with your life. So and in the past we had this, I mean, there was no way of communicating with others of long distance, at least before computers, but than by sending letters. And of course letters took their time, so you needed to put all your effort and be very mindful about what to write, because it could take weeks or even months for the letters to reach their destination. And now with instant communication, which is great, I mean, nothing wrong with that, but somehow we lost the opportunity to exchange information with others, especially if they are on a distance. Because of course the ideal way to communicate with others is by in-person conversation in person, right? But for many reasons, either you may not have friends with whom you want to have deep conversations, or you can have deep conversations, or these people may be far away from you. And nowadays there are even apps that can recreate this experience of sending letters, and that's great. I mean, we have the internet now, so even if you don't have people around you with whom having meaningful conversations, because I think it's a great way to learn and to also use as a sort of reflection tool. If you don't have people around you, then you can use the internet, and there is an app that, for example, is called Slowly. I will leave the link in the description. And you can have virtual friends and send long letters that even they will take some time to reach their destination. So it's a very interesting experience. And so that's the second point. And the third one is my favorite one, is contemplation and writing. And this is probably also will be the favorite one for anyone that's philosophically inclined or intellectually inclined. And the idea is very simple. You ask a question like, what's the meaning of life? Very simple question. And then you start writing about this. You start thinking, coming up with ideas. But the key here for using writing as a contemplation tool for self-development is that you don't base your answers on external information, and that can be quite difficult because we have a lot of preconceived ideas about how things work or how the world is. So here it's very important that you try to isolate as much as possible these preconceived notions, and you come up with your own direct experience, and your answer should be based on that. And that's the key for a meaningful and good contemplation, because otherwise you will be just repeating what other people are saying. This is not like writing an essay where you have to cite other philosophers or other people. No, this is about what is in your direct experience. That's the key for a good contemplation. So, and again, of course, you don't have to contemplate about meaningful or deep philosophical stuff. You can, for example, all what I speak about, I prepare a text version in a form of a newsletter, and essentially I start contemplating about the thing. Okay, I come up with a topic, and then I start writing about this, and that's it essentially. I may get some ideas from books. Sometimes I want to research for a technical term, but really most of the work is just by sitting in a quiet place and then start coming up with ideas. And once I have enough ideas, then I start writing and it becomes automatic. So it's quite simple. Okay, so you may have objections to that. Like, I don't know, you may say you don't like to write, or you don't have anything to write about. And for the second topic or second objection, I already, I think, covered it. I already said that you can start writing about yourself, about your life. I mean, after all of us are living, some better, some worse, but doesn't matter. So you can start writing about that, about yourself. So really, this thing of you don't have anything about to write about, this is not really a valid excuse. A lot of people may say that they don't like to write, and chances are that the reason of that is that you may have to write in the past. You had to write essays or texts about things that you don't care about, and of course nobody wants to do that. And that's the key here, that you start writing about things that you want to write about, not about things that other people are telling you. And that's the key here, that you write something that you're passionate about, like your interests, like your hobbies, your pet, your significant others, your family. Doesn't matter. I mean, definitely if you can start writing today about something that you really like. So really, I think that it's not the problem that you don't like to write, but the things that you had to write in the past were your favorite topics. And I think that all of us had to struggle with this in school or university, writing about shit that we don't care, and that creates a bad experience. But you can start writing today about whatever you love, whatever you're passionate about, I don't know, your dreams, your life purpose, what you want to do in your life. There are endless possibilities. But of course there is a small enemy or problem, is the resistance. And we are lazy, our minds are lazy. Of course it's way easier to read a book than to start writing. Your mind will trick you and say, yeah, that's not that's a waste of time, you don't have anything new to say, and you will want to watch a new YouTube video or read a book or do something else to distract yourself. So you have to become aware of that, because resistance happens to everyone, even to me. I mean, when I start writing, I start writing the newsletter, I always I don't feel like with the inspiration or whatever. But trust me, you start writing, and after 5 to 10 minutes, you forget about this, and the inspiration just sparks from nowhere. So really, sometimes it's just good to get the habit of start writing every day, and don't put excuses, because your mind will trick you. So that's like with every habit, really. You have to make it as easy as possible. So to wrap up, let me mention some pointers about how you can start implementing the habit of writing today, or maybe tomorrow, but today. I think that don't procrastinate this. And as usual, I mean, I start today, but don't make it complicated. 5 minutes a day is enough. Start writing about your day, or about the previous day. How was it? Something good, something bad. Were you annoyed by something or by someone? Maybe you have a discussion, a fight, or maybe something good happened to you that usually doesn't happen. Or maybe you were bored and you didn't have anything to do. doesn't matter. Just start writing a couple of paragraphs or a couple of sentences. Just make it very simple. Don't overcomplicate it. The second point, sorry for I forget. Ideally, try to do it in the morning, because if you leave it to the afternoon, in the afternoon or in the evening, there are always excuses. You are tired, you have things to do, you have to cook, you have to whatever. So in the morning, you don't have those excuses. So try to do it in the morning. The second point is that, again, the easiest way is start journaling, because you don't have to think about, okay, what do I contemplate about, or I need to download an app or find people. You can just start writing about yourself. That's the easiest way, in my opinion, because every one of us has 24 hours and things happen to us. Maybe you read a book that you like, you can write about the book, make a summary. It doesn't matter, really. Just start, and trust me that in a couple of weeks, couple of months, your life will change completely. As I mentioned, you can find pen pals if you are lonely, if you want to have friends. You can find pen pals. There is this app called Slowly, and you can download in your cell phone and write letters to people about. You can find like-minded people. That's especially useful if you don't have like friends and you would like to talk about deep stuff, but not doing by text. That's great for that. And the third point is to use contemplation to get more clarity about your life. And I think that's extremely powerful, because, as I mentioned, writing will help you to put everything together. And especially if you are doing a lot of reading or self-improvement, watching videos, you are getting a lot of concepts every day, and they may seem disconnected one from the other. But there is something that connects the two. And this channel and all what I talk about is about their principles. I don't care about quick fix solutions, really, because that's a waste of time. I can tell you the best way to improve your life is to finding and implementing the right principles, and you may start seeing patterns about what people says, the self-improvement gurus that you may watch, or podcasts that may be interesting information, and you may start to connect the dots. And that's what writing and contemplating makes, to really develop your own philosophy, in a sense, or your own way of living. Because again, each of us are unique individuals. There are many similarities and we can learn from that, but after all, our experiences are quite unique, and what I can tell you is what's useful for me may not be for you. So you really need to be very critical, self-critical, and think by yourself and ask yourself, does this idea make sense to me? Because the worst thing that you can do is to just absorb everything like a fool, and then start talking like a parrot, repeating what other people says. That's not the best way to go through life, because maybe this doesn't apply to you, really. So start contemplating, especially if you are more intellectual. That's an extremely powerful tool. And that's it for today. Trust me, writing has changed my life for the better. I have way more mental clarity, and it's easier to see how everything is connected, and I think that's extremely powerful. Again, this channel is exactly about that, about connecting the dots, about finding the right way to live life, and I think that's extremely powerful. Those ideas can change the world. I really believe that, but in order to change the world, I want to change the world, but in order to change the world, I have to change myself first. I have to embody the principles, and that's what this channel is about. All what I'm sharing is not just mental masturbation, not theory, is the principles that had helped me to grow the most and I hope that you can also take value from that. And that's it. So you like the video, like, or maybe consider subscribing. Remember, every week I will be talking about these things, about deep principles that I think can help you in your life. And also check out the newsletter, the written version of this. As I mentioned, I mean, essentially I'm forced to write now, but I really enjoy doing it. And you learn to appreciate the power of writing, which is so simple, but extremely useful. And so you can check the newsletter where the written version is, and that's it. I have anything else to say, so I hope to see you in the next week. See you. Bye.